Now I've debated that my sobriety is overrated, and I want to feel intoxicated, but just a moment to escape it. I miss you, I'm feeling weighted, and it's been so long since I've been faded. I'm not trying to make this complicated, I'm part of the light that I've created. I hate you.
What are like some of the most challenging aspects of recording in a small studio like this that you guys have had to face?
As somebody starting out, a challenging aspect of recording is getting your workplace configured to a place where you can just sit down and start creating something. A problem that people run into very frequently is latency.
Totally.
Yeah, so latency in Ableton, they'll be like, oh, I'm singing into Ableton and like there's lag and I can't figure out what's going on. So that's a problem that comes up all the time.
And what is that problem from? Is it from sound cards? Is it from gear?
So it could be a mix of things. Most of the time it's just not knowing your software well and how it interacts with the audio interface. So a big thing you should do is learn about sample rates and buffer size. And that sounds complicated, but they're just very, very simple. If you know how to set them up in your DAW, you can figure out when to reduce that latency and when to increase it so that your track isn't freaking out while you're producing it and working on it.
So for someone who's like, holy crap, that already sounds really intimidating to me and I don't know how to do this.
Honestly, you could
Google?
You could Google.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, you could just ask Jeeves.
I think I just dated myself. Can we cut that?
But if you just Googled something like microphone lag Ableton, somebody would answer that question. So the answers are all out there. It's all out there.
Just takes a bit of time to do some digging.
Yeah, it's just learning how to ask the right questions.
That's totally true. Like having the correct language of how you're asking these questions. I found that before you like knowing the lingo, it just takes a lot of time, and we get questions all the time of how to do this stuff, and it's like, man, I'm sorry to say, but you just gotta get on the internet and spend some time and educate yourself and you'll get there.
Or what you can do is, if you know producers that are skilled in your city, you can reach out to them and like maybe say, hey, here's $50, could you run me through your setup? Here's my setup, here's what I'm having problems with. For sure, they'll help you out.
That's also, that's a great idea.
And contact another problem we encountered here with recording specifically was our skylight.
Right.
Because if it's raining or like the birds are doing some foul play, like we can have some issues. And really there's no way around that. Again, when you're first starting out, you're not going to be in this like, you know,
idealistic setup, like a vocal isolation booth, perfect.
Exactly. So in that case, you have to be flexible. Yeah. Flexible and patient, and, you know, just know that there's other things you can be working on if that's not what you can be doing in that moment.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
Garbage trucks.
Dude, it happens.
Sometimes it just adds ambiance.
I mean, we're on East Hastings.
Downtown East Side,
right?
the sirens are an issue here. Like the last Wednesday of the month, we can't record vocals. So that's a little dark, but
for real. Yeah, so we do.
I just got that.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
The checks come out.
Yeah, 100% for real though.
Oh, that's too bad.
I guess you could say though, like one thing related to that is just picking the right room. So not everybody has access to a really nicely shaped room or whatever. This one worked out really well because it's not square.
Yeah, it's got lots of angled walls and.
Yeah, so even though that's a pretty unique vocal booth setup.
It's actually legit and works really well.
If you heard the recordings off of that with a decent mic, which even if you don't own, you could rent for quite cheap. You can get really nice isolated vocals. And then after that, it's all the effecting and how you process them. So as long as you can get it pretty clean at a good level, then you're good. And if you only have access to a square room, then don't set up facing exactly parallel to the other wall.
Right.
Don't set up exactly in the middle because all those reflections will just screw up all your EQing. Try and pick like an angle or a corner or something so that you're a little bit offset. Because just think about it as like...
Or like a bedroom closet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that can work really well
Go
for
into
sure.
the closet. I've heard podcasters will like go into their hotel closets and stuff if there's like robes hanging in there, and they'll like go hang out in there and get a.
I've recorded vocals in my closet multiple times, and that's where we recorded our first album. Was in Mikey's closet. So we're making our way up there, but you know you gotta start somewhere.
And
closet,
out
bedroom.
Of the closet, so
I'm out of the closet.